a Cedar Fair park located in Doswell, Virginia. I visited Kings Dominion for the first time in June of 2023 and rode all 13 roller coasters. Kings Dominion has a great collection of roller coasters and made me one of the best 1-2 punches of any theme park. But anyways, based off of my experience, I will be ranking all 13 roller coasters at Kings Dominion. Tell me your prediction of this list down in the comments below, and what's your favorite roller coasters at Kings Dominion. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and like this video to see more content just like this. I think this one is pretty obvious. Great Pumpkin Coaster is a nice starter ride for kids, but that's all it is, a kid's ride. I'm going to keep it short, it's pretty self-explanatory. Woodstock Express is a PTC wooden coaster that opened in 1974 as Scooby-Doo when Paramount was still running the park. This can also be found in the Planet Snoopy section of the park where Great Pumpkin Coaster is. As a roller coaster, it has your typical out and back layout. Woodstock Express isn't very intense and pretty janky, but it is a step up from Great Pumpkin Coaster and will prepare younger ages for bigger roller coasters. I actually really enjoyed Apple's Apple. The great thing about it is the first drop, which is probably one of the best drops on a Wild Mouse coaster. Apple's Apple was manufactured by Mock Rides and gets overlooked for being next to Twisted Timbers and just being a Wild Mouse. Yes, it's nowhere near the top of the list, but my point is as a Wild Mouse, it's top tier. This ride does get a little rough towards the end. It gives some hills and turns just like a Wild Mouse. So that's the real only takeaways from this ride. Anaconda is really rough. This is an aero looping coaster that is located in the Jungle Expedition section of the park. Now, out of any ride to get taken down next, this is that ride. It was built in 1991 and has built a reputation for being very rough and known for giving you headaches. Now, shockingly, this ride has its fans. I know it's crazy, but one of my friends' favorite roller coasters is Anaconda, and for me, it just gives me terrible headaches. I tried to put my head on the side to avoid being banged around, but there is no stopping that rattle. The one thing that people really overrate is how it has a drop taking you under the water, which is actually really cool and is definitely the best part on this ride. It has a very beautiful setting over the lake, but as a layout and complete ride itself, it's not very good and ranks number 10 on the list. Backlot Stunt Coaster is a launched roller coaster that is one of the best themed rides at this park. It's themed to a climatic chasing, and throughout the whole layout has theming from start to finish. You launch 0 to 40 miles per hour in 3 seconds and go up a triple helix, which is my favorite part on the ride. And then you go through all the police cars, then you go through an overbanked turn, followed by a dip, and then travels down subway stairs, and then you come to a pause at a tunnel. A helicopter rises, and then there's simulated gunfiring, and finally there's an effect of fire before you go through the tunnel and come out of the broken billboard. So you get the point. It's a very well themed ride, which makes it so much better, so it gets the number 9 spot. Reptilian is 1 out of 9 bobsled coasters operated in the world. A bobsled coaster is where there is no track, so the trains move freely and you just twist and turn throughout the whole layout. Reptilian is a very strange ride. You tilt back and sit on someone's lap or getting sit on if you're riding with 2 people. This was manufactured by Mock Rides and is located right by Toonbilly in the Jungle Expedition section of the park. Another well-themed ride to Reptilians, obviously. You just twist and turn, so there isn't much to say about this ride. But I found it fun, and it's the biggest thrill ride so far that doesn't give you a headache. Anaconda. Now, every roller coaster from here on out is considered good or even great. And if you haven't yet, tell me your list from worst to best roller coasters at Kings Dominion down in the comments below. And what do you predict the next 7 roller coasters will be? I know, this should be higher. It was originally going to be my number 4, but after reflecting, I realized that this roller coaster just isn't better than the others. It's good for what it is, but exactly my point, what it is. It's not good enough, and I don't know the ride duration, but without including the chain lift, is this ride even 20 seconds? Someone please tell me in the comments below. This is what I hear, the best themed, the 4D free spin coaster, and yes, it is very well themed. And finally got a sign. It only took a full 2 years, but for the short ride and for what it is, I'm sorry, but I cannot put this any higher. Believe it or not, this ride was considered the most rough wooden coaster and even roughest roller coaster in the world, but the Gravity Group came in and gave this ride a retrack for the 2023 season. They did this right before I went, and they retracked 1/3 of the ride, and you can tell exactly where the old part is, and it is very rough, but they made the drop 55 degrees. It used to be 45. and I think this ride is very well paced and is very smooth where it was retracked, and I think this is a really fun roller coaster. I rode this a lot. It was the last roller coaster I did, and it was dark, and let me say this is a very fun night ride because there's no lights, a tunnel, and it's surrounded by trees, so it gives an incredible night ride. And also, you have to go through a shop to get there, so most of the general public don't know where it's at, so you do get a bunch of re-rides. That's what we did. We got a bunch. We got to re-ride this over and over and over again. Whenever this ride gets a full retrack, I feel like it would move up a spot or two on this list. Racer 75 is a dueling wooden racing roller coaster and previously known as Rebel Yell. This has an out and back layout, but the feel of racing in another train just makes it so much better, and Racer 75 is always dueling. Unlike another ride I know. Anyways, one thing I was not expecting was for this ride to have airtime. It has airtime modes that actually give you pops of airtime, and it's a great ride the whole way through. The one thing bad on this roller coaster is the last hill before you start coming back. You get to about here, and you go flying forwards and gives you a bit of a headache, but you'll lose it when the ride is over. I really like the aspect of dealing with another train, and believe it or not, this ride used to go forwards and backwards. Obviously, I never got to experience it, but if I had it, I feel like it would be even better. This is located in the Candy Apple Grove section and has no theme to apples like the other two rides, Apples, Apple, and Twisted Timbers. Racer 75, it's its own thing, and you have to go under Racer 75 to get to the water park, so it connects throughout both, which I thought Kings of Mini could do better. Like, really? Premier Rides is a very underrated manufacturer in my opinion. I think they make some great coasters. Except the Skyrocket 2s. I love how this ride has a lap bar so you can't bang your head and makes this ride feel way more intense. You go 0 to 54 miles per hour in 4 seconds. This is actually the first roller coaster to use an LIM launch, and I really like it. Another ride with great theming, but the worst looking building known to man. Anyways, what's really funny is that the queue, you listen to people say it goes upside down 7 times, and people say you go upside down once or not at all. But this roller coaster actually goes upside down 4 times. It has your indoor spaghetti bowl, which I think does a great job because it's intense and you don't lose your pacing. And the queue theming, like, oh my god, it's a piece of art. But it's not as near as good as the roller coasters in front of it. So here, welcome you to the top 3. If you made it this far, remember to subscribe and like this video. Dominator is a Forest B&M roller coaster that has been relocated. It opened in 2000 as Batman Night Flight at Six Flags Ohio before being bought by Cedar Fair as Geauga Lake. But with the closure of this park in 2007, it was relocated to Kings Dominion in 2008. This roller coaster is found on International Street, which is the first ride you see when you enter the park. Dominator has 5 great inversions and has a custom layout with being the longest B&M Forest coaster, having one of the tallest vertical loops in the world. And let's not talk about the ride. The drop whips you to the side like a B&M inverted coaster, and it's very forceful, and then you go into one of the tallest vertical loops ever, which will receive great airtime in the back row. Next, you go into an overbanked right turn and then enter a cobra roll. The train rises a bit, then you make a left turn under the lift and enter a mid-course brake run. After the brakes, you dip down into interlocking corkscrews. After the corkscrews, the train curves into the left, and finally a ground turn into the final brake run. This roller coaster has to be one of the smoothest I've ever ridden. It's so graceful. The only thing this ride lacks is a true theme, but that has nothing to do with the ride experience. It has great airtime, great inversions, great pacing. It's not very intense, but it's smooth. Anyways. The fact that this is the first ride I went on and was the first operation of the day, it's still number 2. That's just how good Twisted Timbers is. I never gave it a time to warm up and I never got a rewrite, so I'm not ranking this off its full potential. 20 moments of airtime is just crazy, and the barrel drop is also insane. This roller coaster is also in the Candy Apple Grove section of the park and is themed to apples, I guess. I mean, that's kind of the idea you get. There's trucks and a really cool looking tree when you enter. I don't know, it's very confusing. But this roller coaster is smooth. It has some of the best airtime I've ever been on. Great pacing, it's intense. Like you are getting thrown out of your seat on every inversion and being turned. Great ride, but it's not number 1 because there's just one roller coaster that does it better. You knew this was going to be number 1, Intimidator. Wait, what's that? Oh yeah, my bad. Project 305. The one bad thing about this ride is the circulation being cut off my thighs with those restraints. Oh my word. This is known as one of the most, if not the most, intense roller coaster in the world. It has a reputation of making you black out, and it goes from being 300 feet in the air to a low whippy curve. They actually had to add trim brakes and retrack a bit of the ride because it was that intense. This ride gives you some of the best laterals you'll find on any roller coaster, and if you love intensity, and let me just say I love intensity, then this ride is right for you, and the positives you pull on this ride is just... If you had to define intense, this is it right here. Project 305, God, I hate that name. The iconic I-305 missing. The ride kicks off with gentlemen, start your engines, and then you get pulled up by a cable and then have no time to prepare yourself at all, and now you've already reached the top, and you go into the most intense moment on a roller coaster. You curve to the right into an airtime hill, then a bunny hop before another intense high-speed turn. Next, you quickly maneuver through 3 sharp twists and receive only laterals you can find on Maverick before entering the high-speed turn. The train then goes into an airtime hill with brakes, followed by yet again another airtime hill. Finally, you take a final twist and climb up a bunny hop into the final brake run. Holy, this ride is just crazy, and in my opinion is the best ride at Kings Dominion. Well, that wraps up today's video, enthusiasts. Remember to subscribe to my channel for more content just like this, and like this video. What's your favorite roller coaster at Kings Dominion? Let me know in the comments below, and what do you think of my list? Have a great day, enthusiasts.